Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football, and welcome back to another edition of The Winning Drive, the prime time edition. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Pleased to be joined by another lifetime Longhorn, but he's got a national championship. I do not. My man Marcus Myers joining us. Also joined by our own coach, former high school football coach at Vernon, Capel, Brownwood, Belton, Rotan. Also played college football at Abilene Christian. He coached there as well. Was on the staff at the University of Texas for multiple head football coaches. These days, you can catch his work at ShipleyRanches.com. It's our own Coach Bob Shipley. What's going on, Coach? How you doing?
Hey, all good, guys. Enjoying some football weather out here in the key city of the West Texas, Abilene.
Finally. It took the end of October, like damn near Halloween, to get real fall weather. We're feeling it here in Austin too, Coach. So we appreciate that. Marcus, how you feeling? I don't know how you feeling the fall weather too. How's everything been with you, brother? Good to see you.
Yeah, man. Temps have dipped a little bit. I'm not home right now, so I got the virtual background going.
Hey.
My head's kind of cut off here on this side or over here or something. But yeah, the temperatures dropped. It's football weather, man. We're back at home this weekend, so I've been rocking orange all week. So ready to go, man.
All right, so we're going to talk, of course, a lot of Texas Vandy. The availability report, the latest one, is out. So we'll start with the availability report. We'll not bury the lead. We'll get into that discussion and also your questions, comments, whatever you guys want to talk about, throw them out there. Super chats always jump to the front of the line. You can interrupt the show at any time. Just throw out a super chat. All right, here we go, gentlemen. All right, the nation is talking about it. This is probably the biggest game in college football this weekend when you kind of look at the breakdown. And the Longhorns' latest availability report lists Arch Manning and Michael Taft, both of the 6 teams, as questionable. That was also the case for both of those guys, but you do have 2 upgrades here. You do have Lance Jackson and Cole Hudson. Both of those guys upgraded. Aaron Butler was on the injury report last week as probable. I'm sorry, last injury report as probable. So he's no longer listed here at all. So that's a good news for him. But you do have 2 upgrades: Lance Jackson, Cole Hudson upgraded to probable. Really good news for the O-line and those edges. You're going to need every one of those edges with Diego Pavia. But Arch Manning and Michael Taft, gentlemen, both of those guys still listed as questionable. Let's start there. Shout out to my man CJ Vogel, who reported earlier today that Sark did tell the media that both of those guys were a part of practice. Both of those guys practiced today. So that means they practiced on Wednesday and Thursday, I believe. We had there was another report they practiced yesterday as well. Coach, I'll throw it to you first because you've made these decisions. You've been in charge of making these types of decisions with players. Let's start with Arch Manning, work our way to Michael Taft, but Arch Manning, obviously in concussion protocol, looks like everything is going well. What are your thoughts about how likely it is that Arch is going to be playing on Saturday?
Yeah, I don't have any idea, Rod. I wish I had some great nuggets of wisdom, but I just know that when you're dealing with concussions, that's a very serious thing. My understanding is this is his second one. I don't know if the other one was in high school or what, but anyway, I think it's probably a conversation that, you have with he and his family and the doctors, or maybe the doctors talk to the family and tell them what's going on. But I never, ever pushed, and I was never, making that call, obviously, at this level. But you don't ever make a call on concussion unless you've got thumbs up from everybody involved. It's just too much at risk when you do that. And it's got to be, I don't know if they used to do this, if they still do this, but they used to take a scan of their brain when they reported. Did they do that when you were playing, Rod?
No, that was after I got.
Yeah, when Jordan Jackson, they would take a scan of their brain before practices started. So they would have a reference mark to go back and look and see if there's been any possible damage or anything. So I don't know if they're still doing that. Technology may be a lot better now. I don't really know. But anyway, for Arch, I think, if he's on the field Saturday, then that he's been checked by the best and there's all a thumbs up. If he's not, I wouldn't blame anybody. I really wouldn't. Michael Taft, I'm sure it's going to be huge for him, but at the same time, whoever's in that position is going to be very active this Saturday. And so, I just wonder if Taft is up to what's going to be, called for him physically, with Diego Pavia. But anyway, that's I'd love to see those guys play, but only if it's in their best interest. And I'm sure Sark feels the same way. Really glad to see Lance at probable, and very excited to have Cole Hudson back. I wasn't sure I'd say that. I'm pretty hard on Cole at the first of the year, but he's come on, and then when somebody's gone, you go, hey, that Hudson was pretty good, wasn't he?
You realize how much you missed him, huh, Coach? You didn't know
I'm the first one on that bandwagon. I missed him. Let's get him back. But anyway, we'll see what happens.
All right, Marcus, what are your thoughts about it? I mean, they say he's practiced for 2 days. Concussion protocol is what it is for the most part. But what are your thoughts about how likely it is that we see Arch on Saturday?
Yeah, man, I'm pretty in line with Coach, right? Like I would imagine, and you can think back to this too, Rod, and I'm sure, Coach, you've had players and as well as, Jordan and Jackson have gone through this as well, where you can't leave it in our hands. Like if you leave it up to us, we're running through a wall regardless. And so, I think, you always want to do, what's in the best interest of the player and protect them. And so I imagine that, like you said, is a decision that, you leave up to the doctors. Sark said that on Monday. I didn't get a chance to kind of catch up with everything that he said today, but I imagine it's still echoing similar. And if he's, able to practice and, not showing additional symptoms, then at that point, that decision, likely gets made with the doctors and his family. So, whatever the case may be, I'm sure we're not going to, divulge one way or the other. So they're going to have to do some form of prep of both on whatever end. And that was probably going to be the case, even if, he wasn't trending in the direction that it seems he may be trending. So, and then I'm, again, right there with Coach, I think getting Taft back would be huge. Just having that continuity on the back end and that voice, that sound, especially for the type of offense that, they're going up against, you don't want to have any kind of breaks. And when you have, someone with the level of experience and just football savviness that he's had over the years, and then, back at the confines of your own home, that would do, nothing but continue to help, the defense's efforts. So, and then, lastly, what Coach said, you can't go wrong, making sure that Lance is back on the field. And, it was awesome to see him on the field for the very last play, coming screaming off that edge. And, early in the week, I was like, dang, man, we were really starting to get him ramped up. Like, don't let go of him now. So, all in all, it seems like everything is really trending in the right direction. And that's all you could hope for right now.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think Sark's doing the right thing, because this is just being a responsible coach. You should present to the opposing team the possibility that both quarterbacks are going to be available. That way they got to waste practice time on both quarterbacks. I still think at this point, sounds like it's like a 6. I figure it's kind of 70-30 that Caldwell still starts, in my opinion. Just because I'm with Coach, that second concussion, if it was the first one, right, I could see them, kind of letting us think of. The second one, we all know how concussions work. It is no secret at all. And nobody knows better than the Mannings. And I don't know, this is not some report or anything like that, but I'm just common sense would tell me they got their own people, all right, for this kind of thing, who I'm sure is communicating with Texas people about this kind of thing, if not have flown down to do their own independent, all right, independent evaluation of Arch. So like you said, you got a lot of people that are, I think, giving counsel and advice on this thing. I still think right now I'm feeling 7-30. We'll see what they say tomorrow about it, what we hear tomorrow, but I still think it's going to be Caldwell. I think this is just Sark in gamesmanship. And then Clark Lee has already said, yeah, we got to prepare for both. I mean, you don't want to get caught with your pants down out there with the guys shocked. Remember, they had Fluff Bothwell out there against Mississippi State. He didn't play, but was he out there? Yep. Until the last damn minute, Coach, we need y'all to think, hey, man, that kid might play. That's just the way it goes. And I think that's what's going on here. But we shall see. I mean, like I said, apparently there was a picture online of him getting stopped by the police driving. And Longhorn fans, I love Longhorn fans. This is why I love Longhorn fans. This to them was was evidence of optimism. Right? It's like, oh, he's driving. Okay, so the concussion ain't that bad. That's the first thing people like, oh, so it ain't that bad. He's driving. If it was
they don't have a breathalyzer for concussions.
I love Longhorn fans. That's the first thing they jump to was like, well, damn, it ain't that bad. He must have passed the first stage of concussion protocol then if he's already driving. All right, so yeah, whatever that is, I assume I don't know if the photo was recent or not. It could have been old, but I assume it was recent because it wasn't debunked. But anyway, so the hope is that Arch plays. And before we dive into some of the other topics, let me ask you guys this: just overall, how you feeling? All right, now knowing Arch might play, might not play, might be a coin toss whether he plays or not. What are your thoughts about this? What worries you most? That's the question I'll ask. What worries you most? Marcus, I'll start with you. What worries you most? Is it just simple as Arch might not play? Honestly,
obviously, that's kind of part of it. But I think what maybe worries me a bit is just you're coming off of two really exhaustive games, right? And granted, you get to come home, so that's a really big advantage. But just you had to kind of give it your all, beyond your all 2 weeks in a row, going in overtime on the road. And so just, is there any residual of that? I would like to think that coming back home, is a relief and that there wouldn't be, but human nature also tells me that, that takes a lot out of you, to have to do that, to play that much ball. When we talk about the defense and how long they've been on the field, it's almost like they've played a whole extra game, just off of the number of plays off of those 2 weeks. And so that has a cumulative effect. But again, the flip side of my own coin there is at least you're back home all week. You get some additional time to get, all the home cooking and therapy that you need, within our own medical center and all of that, right? As opposed to having to get ready to pack up a bag and get on a plane and go somewhere you really don't want to be, in the first place. So that's honestly really my only true concern, because I think, the team has shown a level of wherewithal and hopefully, what they did in that comeback shows them who they can be when they're really kind of, fighting on or hitting on all cylinders. So that, someone just wondering, what that looks like. I saw this chat. Everybody's talking about this.
I see it too.
Let me get this out real quick. I actually have a cousin named Michael. And we never really used to joke with him about it, but people would always, kind of make some kind of little riff about Halloween and Michael Myers and like, hey, do you have any relatives named Michael? I'm like, well, actually, I do. So yeah.
No, Michael Myers. I got Aunt Mary Jane, so she's always get it from us. One time we found out about the song that Aunt Mary Jane. We got Aunt Mary Jane. Yeah, we always went on that.
Favorite aunt.
Exactly. Well, when I got older, yes. Jay Ward says Marcus knows a thing or two about head injuries. He's missing a chunk out of the left side of his head. That was good. That's good. I said Fluff Bothwell, I believe, not Bothwell. I probably said it too fast, so I apologize about that. All right, let's hit a super chat. Coach, for you, real quick, what worries you the most?
Yeah, well, real quickly. Diego Pavia worries me.
Period.
Just what he brings, his leadership and his competitiveness, his desire to win. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's unbelievable. Really. I mean, when you look at what he's done for that program, now obviously it's not just him, but that is my number one main concern. The second concern behind that, and it's the same old thing it's always been. Are we going to be able to run the football? Are we going to be able to let our defense have a rest on the sideline? And it's not like, Vandy is a real fast-paced offensive team, but they do like to control the clock, and they will control the clock. So you have to take advantage of every offensive possession. There's no gimmies in this game. Every possession is key. And so being able to run the ball, obviously, is going to help you a lot. So those are my two main concerns.
Yeah. Now I'm with you about Pavia. He's one of those guys. He's a game changer, man. There's no question about it. He can make you right even when you're wrong as an offensive play caller, and he can make you wrong even when your play call was right as a defensive coordinator. And I've seen him do it multiple times this year. He did it to Texas last year. He's one of those guys. And we'll get into it, but I'm with you, Coach. That kind of be my main concern. Honestly, the Arch thing is probably secondary to that. All right, just throw this out. This is breaking news, so we got to hit this real quick before we get back to Texas stuff. So LSU and apparently AD Scott Woodward are expected to separate in the near future, reports Pete Thamel.
Oh, surprise, surprise, surprise.
It comes in the wake of Governor Jeff Landry's criticism of Woodward, declaring he wouldn't make the hire in the football coaching search. For those who have not been keeping up with this, so and this is only in Louisiana, and my mom and dad are both from Louisiana. So Louisiana, swamp people, they just built different. So for those who have not been keeping up with it, Governor Landry had a press conference earlier today and kind of went off in his press conference. And at the press conference, he stated that Scott Woodward would not be hiring the next football coach at LSU. He said straight up, he ain't gonna hire him. We're gonna get a committee, we're gonna do something. That dude who's got a terrible record recently of hiring head coaches, he is not gonna hire our next head coach. I ain't gonna let it happen. He said that straight up. He literally just said it. Right. He said, no, he literally said, I'd rather let Trump do it. He said, I'd let President Trump hire the next head, which I pray he does. I am praying. Honestly, LSU, please do this. Please let President Trump hire the next head coach at LSU. Come on, guys. He can't do worse than Scott Woodward. Just let him do it. Please let him do it. It'll be so much fun for all of us. College football, that's why we love it so much, man. You got stories about dudes dating opponents dating the opposing head coach's daughters and all kinds of stuff. I mean, college football is great. Please let him do it. Let President Trump hire the next coach at LSU. I would love that.
Yeah,
I am not hating on Trump. I'm not hating on anybody. It's not a political sense. I'm just talking about entertainment value, guys. That would be so entertaining. Y'all know it would be entertaining. President Trump is entertaining anyway, but that would be amazing to let him do that. Please, if you ask him to do it, he's gonna do it. He ain't gonna turn it down.
But would he hire a fellow politician? As Tommy Tuberville. Can you imagine having Trump in, giving the team a pep talk?
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. I would love it. Bring Trump into college football more. You know, he wanted to be in the NFL. The NFL billionaires, they didn't want him a part of their little billionaire club. Yeah. Come on, bring him into college football. He'd be hilarious. And he gets stuff done. You know, he does get stuff done. Say whether you like him or not. He will get stuff done now. Come on.
I'll tell you this though too, Rod, like about that. That is wild. But hey, I mean, anything would be on the table at that point. Like if you had any coaching in your resume, he would just go for it. So,
but can you imagine? He would ask Saban to come back though. I think realistically, I think he just asked Saban to come back.
Can you imagine our governor telling Texas or Texas A&M who is going to hire and who's not going to hire the head coach?
Yeah.
That goes like a lead balloon.
Coach, he went like multiple steps further though, right? Like he was taking shots at Jimmy Sexton, which is Lane Kiffin's agent, right? So and then he went on Pat McAfee's show and said that whoever they hire next is going to have a very different contract, and if the agent can't see that, then it's not going to get done. Yeah. So, I know we're joking and all the different things.
No, you're right.
You're talking about in correlation to like how this impacts us. I'm a lot more scared of Lane Kiffin at LSU than, whoever else they're going to have to kind of hire on this bargain bin contract that their governor is talking about. So if Lane's not at LSU, I would see that being a better thing for us in recruiting prospects. So
that's a great point. And before we get to that, I got to get to the Paul's comment because this is great. Paul says Texas would somehow fire the governor if they tried to get involved. You damn right. You damn right they would. Texas, by the way, the governor got to go. He tried to get involved in the hiring process, though. But to your point, that he did make, even though people want to mock the governor and all that kind of stuff in Louisiana, he made a good point about the kind of incestuous conflict that exists behind the scenes in college football. Basically, because these agents now can run college football because the athletic directors got agents. I really feel like Lane is staying at Ole Miss for some reason. If Lane stays at Ole Miss, then that really slows down the coaching carousel a little bit too. Because I think he's the coaches, they're kind of the fuel to the fire of the coaching carousel to get it going. If he's going to take his name out of the running, it obviously is going to lose some cachet. But getting back to the point I was making about the agents, what the governor said was that he said y'all should do research. He actually, remember at one point he says, how many of y'all are sports reporters out there in the media? And it was one person. It was one sports reporter there. One. And he said, See, this is the problem. He said, I need more sports reporters here. He said, because the conflicts exist. He said, because the same agents that are representing athletic directors are not representing agents and representing players. He said he's basically implying they're controlling college football because they represent they're just setting the ADs up with the head coaches and saying, "Nah, hey, I got this guy. He'll be good for you. Trust me, I got the it." And he's saying that conflict is bad for college football, which honestly I don't disagree with that. Like that's very like the NFL is different. NFL, think about this, guys. Who's negotiating on the side of the schools? These contracts, right? The agents are agents. Agents, that's what they do. They negotiate. They order the deal. Getting back to President Trump, right? The businessmen know how to negotiate, right? That's what they be doing for a living. And that's what agents do. Who the hell's negotiating for the schools? The ADs, right? They're terrible at it. That's why the contracts are so bad. That's why the contracts are so lopsided. They're so bad at negotiating. They're not negotiators. They're not businessmen. They're politicians. They're bureaucrats. They don't know how the hell to negotiate. That's not what they do. So they're getting out negotiated every time. 10-year deals, this buyout, this much money. These guys know what the hell they're doing.
Did you see?
Agents come in. Agents are like, no, the guy needs this, the guy needs that. In the NFL, it ain't like that. Why? Because the NFL, the owners are actually businessmen. So for why they go, nah, you ain't getting that. Nope, no guaranteed salaries, none of this. No, we ain't doing that. We're businessmen. All right, we know how to negotiate a damn deal. We ain't just politicians. We hired Goodell. He's a politician. I'm a businessman. Well, you ain't gonna get me like that.
To your point,
and that's the difference, guys.
Did you see what I sent you about Matt Rule? So he got a 2-year extension. Well, he's 0-18 against top 25 AP ranked opponents or top 10 AP ranked opponents between his time at Nebraska and Baylor. Right in his contract extension, 90% of it is guaranteed. So his current buyout goes from $49 million to $71 million. It's almost like at this point you're incentivized to like be bad for a couple of years and get canned, and you just throw your money like it. So yeah, you're right. Like for whatever reason, the agents always get the best of it when it comes to college ball and negotiating these contracts on behalf of the coaches.
It's unbelievable. It's so lopsided now. It's crazy. Like, and you ain't got to be a good coach these days. You can just be a hot coach. That's why coaches know I got to be the hot coach. I got to get on whatever that fast track is and get paid quick. And then your agent can do the rest. You be set for life. You ain't even got to be good. That's why I screwed up. I ain't even got to be good at it. I just got to have a good interview and a good agent. Fast track. Have 1 or 2 good years. And every time you have a good year, coach, get another job. Don't ever have a good year and stay at the same spot. That's the problem. You got to keep going up every time you have a good year, and then you'll make it. Jimmy Sexton, right? It's Sexton season. All right, I apologize, guys. Let's get back to Texas football. But we had to get to that because that affects
college football. Yeah, it impacts us.
Yeah, Texas is one of the trendsetters when it comes to that kind of stuff. So you gotta address it. All right, before we get back to it, there you go. Let's thank our friends over at Von Lane. We appreciate them and all their support of on Texas football. Folks, this fall, there are places to be, whether it's Texas football games or whether college football in the great state of Texas, NFL football in Houston. And in Dallas, you got great festivals, you got music concerts. Why waste hours at the airport or stuck behind the wheel with Von Lane? You just walk into a hotel terminal, check in within minutes, and you're on board. No TSA, no hassle. Settle into one of just 22 oversized first-class seats. Stretch out, recline, and enjoy complimentary Wi-Fi snacks and drinks. If you want a beer or a cocktail, they got you covered. But travel is now open through December, so book your travel today. Game days, concerts, even the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas trips as well. Visit vonlane.com. Use the code OTF25 to save $20 on your first ride with Von Lane. That's Von Lane, your private jet on wheels. All right. A lot of those coaches probably should be taking that Von Lane and get to them job interviews for that coaching carousel. All right. Let's get to it. All right. Says, injury aside, I want Caldwell to start. 1, both coaches and players could benefit from seeing a different offense. And 2, Arch might benefit for the same reason. Thank you very much for the super chat. All right. Coach, I'll throw it to you. What about this opinion? Injury aside, Caldwell, could it be good for the offense? Be like a palate cleanser, if you will, for this offense?
I have a hard time going there because we've seen very limited Matthew Caldwell. He's done well when he's been in. But as we've talked about earlier this week on a couple of shows, podcasts for OTF, it's one thing to come in off the bench and, on a second's notice and get your, make 4 or 5 sideline passes, running the game, make a completion, and then you're back out. And he's done that twice. He's also showed his great legs too against Sam Houston. I think that he can run the ball well, but a lot of boo birds and people wanting to see Arch take a seat and see what Caldwell can do. I just say pump the brakes a little bit, because it's totally different animal when you got all week to think about it and all that stuff. I do understand Allright's point, and I think it could be legitimate if Caldwell is what he showed up to this point. But I think you got to give yourself the best chance to win. If you think it's Matthew Caldwell, but I don't think it's. I don't think. I mean, if Arch is ready to play, he's going to play. And but I do see a benefit of Caldwell going in it, especially if he plays well. If he doesn't play well, then it's not going to be a good night.
Yeah, if he doesn't play well, you might hear Longhorn fan chanting KJ.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not joking. Actually, Marcus, what are your thoughts about the super chat from All Right?
Yeah, man, I agree with Coach, right? Like, if Arch is healthy, I think what's, and we've talked about this, just like Coach said, like on a number of shows, and we talk about this often, the backup is always the one that everybody's like raring to see, right? And this time last year, everybody was ready to see Arch. And then you got to the season and he was the man. And you saw what that began to look like, as he started. But my thing about it is if you, remove Caldwell from the situation, like, yes, he came in, made a great adjustment, threw an amazing ball. Did we forget about everything Arch did leading up to him doing that? Like, he was balling. Like, that was, arguably his best game as a starter. And so if, he is okay and he's able to carry that momentum into this game, that is who I would want behind center, to see if now you're at home and you get to, kind of continue to build on that. And so, we've seen a lot of changes along the offensive line, a number of different guys banged up. And so, sure, in theory, you would, to Coach's point, like if he came in and played well, but you don't have the foresight of knowing that, you would only be able to look back and determine that. So if he's okay, I would like to see Arch, be able to get in there and keep doing what he did. If he's not, then you hope that, Caldwell is prepared and ready to go. And maybe, Arch would be available in emergency, situation kind of thing. But I don't know if it's just as simple as, you just see something different and it helps everybody. At some point, you need to, have some level of continuity. And it's like, just as Arch was taken off, he got injured. Well, if he's ready to go and he's able to play, I don't want to just throw somebody else in there for the sake of doing it.
To your point about him just taking off, first 5 games for Arch, 16 interceptable passes. Not all of them were intercepted, but turnover-worthy passes, basically. 10.7% turnover-worthy play rate, 54% screen RPO play action rate, and a 12-yard average depth of target. In the last 3 games, he's got 1 interceptable pass, less than a 1% turnover-worthy play percentage. His screen RPO play action rate is actually down to 49%, but screens are up. So Sark is giving him easier completions. And his average depth of target is now cut in half to 6.8 instead of the 12 average. So the offense is been modified. It's not always easy to see because they don't execute well, period. And the offensive line is still bad. But Sark is trying to modify the offense, and Arch is getting better. Yeah. Sark has evolved, and Arch is getting better. Now, when are those two things going to peak? I don't know, because now you said there's no Arch. Let me just throw this out there about Matthew Caldwell, though, guys. These are just the career numbers for Matthew Caldwell. And maybe he was being held back by the talent around him or the coaching around him. I don't know. He's less than a 60% career completion percentage. Yards per attempt, 6.3. 22 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. 11 of those 15 interceptions came in 24 and 23. And he also ended up with 12 fumbles in 24 and 23. So I kind of agree with Coach. I've heard Jerry say let's I mean, they got to make sure that we have realistic expectations for Matthew Caldwell out there. But he's been good in the flashes, but that's extrapolated over 4 quarters of football after a team has done prep for you. And they, trust me, Vanderbilt's watched all them games at Gardner Webb and Troy. They've been watching all of them. I have not. But I'm just giving you the real. All right, Victor with a super chat. Thank you, Victor. Says, hey, Coach, how much would you blitz Pavia this game? My dad and I were thinking we would tear him up on 3rd down specifically. What's your thoughts, Coach?
Yeah, I don't know that I would blitz him a lot. I would certainly have somebody spying him because the problem is when you get up in your lanes, that's exactly what he wants you to do. So you can't go deeper than the quarterback. And so I don't know that that the passing game is what you need to worry about as much as his legs, and so blitzing, man, you got guys running full speed the opposite direction. If he can make you miss or slide away, then that's one less tackler available past the line of scrimmage. So I think you certainly have to have a spy on him. I think that's a given. And that needs to be somebody very athletic, for obvious reasons, because you got to make an open field tackle a lot of times. But I don't know. I mean, if it's 3rd and forever, sure, blitz him. But I don't know. I think the down and distance. I mean, the distance on that 3rd down is key because, man, that guy can make yards, but it doesn't look like there's going to be anything there.
Yep.
He's not flashy. He's certainly not flashy the way he does it.
Like I say, he's a likes to fight guy at quarterback. He doesn't give up on plays, to Coach's point. And I agree with Coach. Just real quick here. Pavia's worst game of the season was the Missouri game, actually. He had his fewest passing yards of the season. First game without a passing touchdown. He had an interception, lowest completion percentage of the season, fewest completions of the season. It was his fewest design runs all year long too. And the reason was they had the lowest blitz rate against him all season long. They only blitzed him 12% of the time. So they didn't blitz him. They devoted all of their extra resources to Coach's point, to spying him and to try to contain the scramble drill, which he is really good at. Last year, 2 of the touchdowns they scored against Texas, scramble drill. One was him passing it, one was him running. Scramble drill. He's really good at it. He's maybe one of the best in the country at it. So they decided to hell with the extra pressure because the truth is this, their O-line is not that good in pass protection. They're really good run blocking, but they're actually not that good in pass protection. The numbers from Pro Football Focus, just real quick here, have them as the 5th worst team pass blocking unit in the country and the 8th lowest graded O-line in the Power 4.
Well, and then part of that, Rod, especially for Mizzou, they have a couple pretty good ends, right? And we don't have a shortage of those. So, if you can get it done with, 4 or 5 guys and you're not sending the house, I mean, that's some, winning ball right there. And you force them to beat you with his arm.
Yep. Yeah. Zion Young and Damon Wilson, I believe their names. All right. Let's take one more super chat. Justin here. Justin, Saturday is the first home game in forever. It seems how much of a boost will it be for us? Thank you, Justin, for that super chat. We appreciate it. That's a good question, Marcus. What are your thoughts about the morale boost that it feels getting back at home now after 4 games away from DKR? I mean, I did not spend that many games away during the football season. Maybe 2, maybe back-to-backs is the most we ever spent away from DKR, and maybe like a bye week. But there's no way we had 4 straight games away from DKR. I mean, you probably got to go back historically decades to find another team that did that.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be some kind of extenuating circumstances as to why that would have happened. Because I think I heard Jerry say on one of the shows it'll be 42 days. On Saturday or something like that since there's been a game in DKR. So, I mean, I think it's got to be a boost, right? And then you add to it that the weather is going to be perfect. I mean, it's not going to be sweltering anymore. You're not going to be dying out there in the sun. And, selfishly, like, I'm pretty excited. I think I mentioned, they're honoring our national championship team on Saturday. So, a bunch of the guys are going to be in town and, we'll be down on the field. I think at some point during the first quarter, they're going to honor us. So, I think there should be good energy. You know, it's not anything else major going on in town that's competing with it. You know, it's not F1 or anything like that. And I would imagine that folks are kind of chomping at the bit to be able to see their team, you know, at home in Austin again. And along with that, the players. You know, we talked again about just how much easier it is when you know your routine and you're just, you know, going to the hotel instead of having to get on a plane and all the different things. So, you know, I think the guys are going to be pretty fired up. I know I am, just to be back in the stadium. I mean, it has been literally over a calendar month since we have, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, no, it is. It's and like you said, on top of, and I think obviously they are related. You had 2 back-to-back overtime games on the road. I mean, let that defense end up playing 170 something plays or something like that in those 2 games back-to-back. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you for a lot of reasons. I think it'd be really good for Texas to be back home. I do think it will be a huge boost for them morale-wise, and they're going to need it, especially if they don't have 2 of their best players on offense and defense, Michael Taft and Arch Manning. All right, let's thank our friends over at Bingham's Bourbon. We appreciate them for being a part of the Owen Texas family and their continued support of Owen Texas football. Folks, Grammy and Oscar-winning artist Ryan Bingham, for years, he turned down offers to put his name on just any bottle of bourbon. No, instead, he insisted on putting his name on a bottle of bourbon that he could be proud of, one that stayed true to his Texas roots, where the music comes from. That's why he built Bingham's from the ground up, a Texas certified whiskey made with 100% Texas grown grains, distilled and aged in the searing Texas climate for a bold, unmistakable flavor. From the hands of local Texas farmers to the barrel to the glass, every drop is a tribute to the land, the craft, and the people who shape it. Bingham's Bourbon, proof that Texas makes a damn good bourbon, available now across the great state of Texas. And you can find details at binghamspirits.com. That's binghamspirits.com. And Ryan Bingham will actually be at a Moody Center next Friday night. I'm going to go out there and actually see Ryan Bingham. So I think my wife's going to be either really excited because she's going or really jealous because she can't go. And we don't know yet because we haven't talked to the babysitter. So we'll see. Michael Moore says here, sorry, it doesn't pertain to football, but shout out to Shipley Ranches. Jordan got us a contract on our family ranch. Had an offer on the first day of listing.
You know, that's great. Thank you so much, Michael. And I appreciate you letting Jordan take care of that for you. But what people don't realize, so he's talking about his family ranch. There's going to be more turnover in that area in the next 10, 20 years because people are not wanting ranches anymore and the families are getting big. And so when these baby boomers pass away, people want the money. They don't want the ranch because they're living in, you know,
cities,
urban areas or whatever, or suburban areas. And so anyway, good time to sell. Let's know if we can help you.
I didn't know that. Andy, get a little insider knowledge here from Coach about the ranch. That's a good point, though, Coach. Yeah. I mean,
right. Could I sneak something in real quick? I wanted to just tell kind of the OTF folks about something real fast, and we're going to get the guy on that I'm going to mention here a little bit later, but I don't know if everybody's familiar with the Stark Center. I certainly wasn't, but it's an area in the north end zone that's it's basically like a museum and a library kind of rolled in one, but it serves as the archive for Texas athletics, more or less. And so they have an exhibit out right now. I had a chance to meet the curator of it, a really cool guy named Kyle Martin that we're going to try and get on the show here in the coming weeks, especially when we get closer to the A&M game, because right now they have an exhibit going and it's called Longhorns versus Aggies, right? And so they're going to be doing some, curated tours of it, but anybody can go to it. It's up on the 5th floor of the north end zone. So of course you got to deal with, the parking issues and stuff around UT, but it's a really dope center and has really cool, artifacts. It has any number of old photos. And I even was walking through there and it had some of Coach Brown's old call sheets and, some stuff that Coach Royal had. So what they end up doing is, when they do all this construction, before they're tearing down a building, a lot of times they go through these closets and there's just all this old stuff.
Yeah.
And so they, call over to the center and, those guys are able to put stuff on display. So I muted myself. There's but there's an exhibit going on right now. So in the weeks leading up to, the A&M game, I think it would be really cool if, people get an opportunity to get out there and see it. It wasn't something that I was aware of until I had met this guy and I had an opportunity to go out and check it out. So, we'll make sure we'll get some information out to people about it so they can check it out, but it's free. and just, really cool area to learn some more about, Texas history.
That fifth floor? You said fifth floor in the north end zone.
Pretty sure it's the fifth floor of the north end zone. And they're doing I know they're having some curated tours on November 14th and November 21st, but you can go at any other time on your own, and it's, I think, open just during regular hours, like 10 to 5 every day.
That is cool though, that when they do all the construction, that they actually salvage stuff that, don't just like give it to anybody. Like, oh man, I'm taking this home. Like, no, man, you should give it to you. It might be actually something that is really important. And something that should be on display historically. That is cool. Actually, there used to be a cool photo of me up in Moncrief, and I've been wanting to ask like John Bianco, like, what y'all doing the photo that was up, man? I know it's in some closet somewhere. Y'all threw it in the trash. Why didn't you just give it to me? Where's that photo? I'm the only one who cared the photo was there. Nobody else even cared it was up.
Well, here's the problem.
They had one photo of Rob B up, and now it's gone, which is cool. But where is it? Can I get it? Where is it? It's big, it's nice. Where is it?
So every time a new head coach comes in, they want to do a remodel and want to put their signature on it. Mm-hmm. And so all the stuff, the cool stuff that was on the walls gets taken down.
I know. Come on.
Yeah. And so, what happens to that stuff? I don't know. But then a new coach come in and he'll put a whole nother set of pictures and artifacts up or whatever. And what happens to the old stuff? Who knows?
I know, man. I still think about that photo, Marcus. That was a cool photo, Rob B, man. Could have that at the crib, and now
they might have it back there somewhere.
I might ask John Bianco about it. All right, he probably don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. All right, Matt, thank you for the super chat. Says Rod B, thoughts why Sark isn't using any pony package. You know what, Matt? I think ultimately, I'm not even going to blame Sark for that one. You've had so many injuries at running back. And I think if you had a healthy Cedric Baxter and a healthy Trey Wisner, especially now with the little Niblet, with the Niblet package basically kind of become what his pony package is. He kind of uses Niblet, and Niblet's like a hybrid player, wide receiver / running back. But Matt, listen, you guys have heard me say it before, and my notes, I got plenty of them here. They back it up. It is the most explosive, the most efficient, and most effective personnel package he uses in all of his years here at Texas, whether it be 2021, 22, 23, 2024. But this season it has not been, but I think mostly it's because of injury. So Sark, I think, knows that it's really effective, but you got to have the right mix of running back there. They complement each other. And that's why when you had Bijan and Rojo, it was really good. And hell, at one point you had, Jonathan Brooks and like a young CJ Baxter in there. You got a Jaden Blue with a Trey Wisner. You just got to have the right mix. And I don't think they've had the right mix this year with the running back. So I think that's the main reason. All right. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate that. Lane with a super chat here. Thank you, Lane. We appreciate it. Says, why isn't Colin Klein getting mentioned anywhere? Arguably best offense in the country. Heisman favorite. Turned that unit around quick. Guy is ready.
He is. He's getting mentioned. I thought I saw him as like the leader for Oklahoma State.
I saw that too. I don't know if it was like a rumor, but I somebody basically is like claiming like he's like.
I've heard it a few times that it's almost like he's kind of in the bag for that to some degree. Obviously, plenty of stuff can happen, but I've heard it from more than one channel or different outlet that he's pretty heavily considering that. So I think people are aware. It's just he's not going to get one of the big time jobs, and so some of those dominoes have to fall first, and they're in the middle of a pretty good run right now. So you got to see how things shake out.
He's done a hell of a job, Lane. And honestly, I always talk about A&M, and one of the things it's kind of a jab I take at the Aggies is that, they never keep up their end of the bargain. When Texas plays A&M, a lot of times Texas is ranked real high. Texas got more to lose in that situation than to gain by playing A&M because usually they're winning double-digit games and, I maybe on the way to a college football playoff. Not the case this year. I mean, the Aggies, they're the ones who got more to lose in that game when they face the Longhorns. And they've just done a hell of a job. And remember, I've always said it'd be great if both teams were good when they played.
Yeah.
The problem with Texas A&M that only one time in the history of the two programs playing have both teams won double-digit games. That fuels the paranoia between the two fan bases because there's a belief that if one party is good, it has to be at the expense of the other. They can't be both good at the same time. And maybe there's something true to that, right? When same conference, same state, that kind of thing. I think the NIL revenue sharing era, that transfer portal era, that changes. Both of these teams can be good at the same time, but this year the Aggies keeping up their end of their deal. The Longhorns are not. Period. Yeah, because the Aggies gonna be real. The Aggies may be undefeated when that time comes.
You know what?
So
Exactly. Marcus want to spoil the party.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something if Texas stubs their toe a time or two, and A&M comes in undefeated and Texas knocks them off? I mean, it still wouldn't hurt them that much. I mean, they'll go to the playoffs. Yeah, they'll go to the playoffs, probably play for the conference championship. Mm-hmm. But we would have won the game.
Yeah.
So always something to look forward to. But I'm just hoping we get past Saturday.
Yeah, I know. You're right, Coach. Let's focus on Saturday. Sorry, I shouldn't even be looking. You got me. Yeah, I shouldn't.
That was on me. I'm sorry. I was just to make people aware, but you're right.
I should have kept us on track. Ty says, I would like to see Texas spread out the Vandy defense with 3x1 and 2x2 sets in 11 and 10 personnel. When you don't have a stellar O-line, it's better to move bodies out of the box that gives one-on-ones. Sark does not run to Todd. Great point. He does not run 10 personnel. Yeah, I thought he would run it last year when he had so much depth at wide receiver. He did not. He does not. He's not going to take a tight end off the field. So he's not going to run 10 personnel. Hasn't run it since he's been there, maybe like 1 or 2 plays. It's just not what Sark does. But I agree with you about spreading them out. The truth is, Texas is going to try to run the football, and I have no faith. I have as much faith as I had Texas was going to beat Mississippi State when they were down 31-14. And I was wrong about that. So I'm hoping I'm wrong about this. But I have no faith that Texas is going to be able to run the ball against Vandy.
Well, the problem, though, and coaches mentioned this, though, is like, and I have to go back and look because I don't remember what the exact number was, but it's like you it's hard to have any faith if you're going to run it like 10 times a game, and so there's not ever, been this overly, a commitment to it this year. Now, granted, if the guys just can't do it, and, that's a whole other thing that we're talking about. Maybe this is a shift in philosophy now, but I think he still wants to be able to run it. Now, whether or not you can, that's what you talk about all the time, Rod, right? Like what you want to do versus what you have to. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have faith in it either, but that's, largely because I just haven't seen them actually try to do it.
Yeah. And he's right. You don't have a stellar O-line, so you got to coach around that. I also found this stat today, and I tweeted it out too. Texas has been in third and long more than any other Power 4 program. Third and 7+ yards a game, mostly because they can't run the ball. They can't run it on early downs.
Well, and really, it's not a matter, in my mind, it's not a matter at this point of getting bodies out of the box. It's a matter of not winning the line of scrimmage.
Exactly. I totally agree with that.
We cannot control the line of scrimmage. We are not moving anybody forward or creating any gaps to run through. And that's just on the down linemen. Mm-hmm. We're just getting whipped up front or stalemating. And, if you stalemate, defense wins. That's what they want to do. They just as soon do that because they don't want to be too deep because they don't want to run past the ball carrier or anything. They want to control the line of scrimmage. That's what they do. And that's what most people have been able to do against Texas this year. Yeah. OU didn't do it that well, but that's an anomaly apparently.
No, it's a good point. The point of attack. All right, let's thank our another sponsors. Thank our friends over at South Point Dodge. Now we'll move on to answer some more questions here. But Texas football fans, you can score an easy extra point this season when you get to the point with our friends over at South Point Dodge. South Point Dodge has over 600 vehicles in stock right now, including the all-new 2025 Ram 1500. Get the real deal today and drive away in the all-new Ram 1500, proven to last. Plus, right now you get employee incentive pricing with our friends over at South Point Dodge. That's right. Employee incentive pricing, their fancy way of saying that you get the employee discount. You pay what the employees pay right now at South Point Dodge. You won't find a better deal than that. So whether you need a car, truck, trade in, something new, something used, our friends at South Point Dodge are Austin's automotive everything. Go see them off of I-35 in South Austin or go online at southpointdodge.com. Thank you very much to our friends at South Point Dodge. All right, let's get back to a question. How about this one from CB? Says, what's it like wearing a club during a game? I don't know, Marcus. Did you ever wear a club during the game?
I never did. The most I did was have the fingers taped together, that kind of deal. and maybe like a little splint, and you still just get out there and do it. I've never had the club situation. I feel like DJ did one game
I think so.
when we were playing, and he still found a way to do his rip move. So guys like him, they'll figure it out. If Tapp is able to wrap that hand up and go, I'm sure he'll do it. If it's not going to be something that would be a detriment to him and the team ultimately, but I couldn't speak, directly to it.
Coach, you ever had to play with a club or something on you?
No, not really. I broke my hand and had to wear a splint, and that was padded up pretty good. But I was a running back, and I still had to carry the ball.
Yeah.
So anyway, I have it, but I wouldn't be surprised to see if Taff is cleared for the game. That they just kind of keep him on the sidelines. And if we're really getting in a bind because of that position, then maybe insert him if that's what you have to do to win the game. But that's a touchy thing. Like I said, you certainly don't want to do any more damage, but you don't want to. If a guy's ready and able to play, you don't want to leave him on the sidelines if he can help you win the game.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe because obviously the biggest issue if you're wearing a club is going to be tackling. Right, it's hard for you to just wrap a guy up and corral them with the club on your hand. I'm sure you could do it. I mean, he's an All-American caliber player. Pro Football Focus actually had a really good stat about Taff. Since I'm talking about him, I want to share this stat really quickly. They threw this out here. He's the only safety with an 85+ grade against the run and in coverage, according to their stats. And he was named a Thorpe Award semifinalist, I believe, early this week. So congrats to my man Taff. But maybe you put him in the post more. You know what I mean? Like if the club on his hand or whatever protective gear he's going to have in his hand is going to really affect his tackling, maybe you keep him out of the box. Maybe he's your guy using the post when you use him out there so he can be your middle field safety, still direct traffic, still communicate, make the audibles and checks, but he's a last line defense rather than being a guy you got in the box trying to make a tackle in the hole. You know what I mean? So that's the way you use him, but I don't know. Interesting. All right, let's get back to some questions. Freshwater Cajun says, is containment the number one priority of the defense? Is attacking Vanderbilt's depth by control the ball the number one priority for the offense? I think the biggest issue for the defense, guys, is to stop the running game. Yeah. You got to stop the running game for Vanderbilt. It's one of the most creative and exotic running games in all of college football in the SEC. And they got a +1 who's a dog at quarterback, who's a much more dangerous runner as a +1 and a scrambler and in a scramble drill than he is as a pocket passer. So you got to get them off schedule. They're one of the most efficient offenses in college football. I'll give you another stat since we're talking about stats. How about this stat? 47 FBS teams have run fewer than 500 offensive plays. 43 FBS teams have scored 250 points this season. Only 10 have done both. Vanderbilt's one of those 10. Really efficient. They know how to stay on the field. Top 10 third down team, top 10 touchdown percentage in the red zone. They're really good in critical moments and in critical areas because their running game is so diverse and so good. If you stop that running game and you have that offensive line have to pass block in predictable passing situations, the only really good pass protector is their center, Jordan White. He's really good. The rest of those guys, they are below average, and you can take advantage of them in pass protection from what I've seen and based on the Pro Football Focus number. So that's the number one goal. Stop the run. If you don't stop the run, it's going to be a long day.
Yeah, I'd like to answer the second part of that, attacking Vanderbilt's depth by control of the ball, the number one priority of the offense. Mm-hmm. I think that it's a catch-22 because you can't tire those guys out and put a subpar guy in if you're not running a fast-paced offense. Mm-hmm. Okay, and we are certainly last week we're more efficient, and I know you have stats on that, Rod, mm-hmm. On the hurry-up offense. But as I said, it's your Achilles heel at the same time because you don't want to put your defense right back on the field. You have to take advantage. Yeah, and so it would take a lot of trust and a lot of faith for Sark to have in his offense to be able to run a fast-paced game. But I'll go back to what I've said for weeks. you can't run a fast-paced offense if you don't practice it, because your offensive line are going to be sucking air just like the defensive line is. Mm-hmm. So if you don't practice it, then it's not a weapon.
Yep, I agree with that. All right.
Real quick, the only other thing I was going to add, often we talk about, you hear people talk about containment, and to your point, their running game is very creative, but it's the type that they're going to stick with it no matter what, right? They'll do what we're saying we would like to do, and they're waiting for you to be out of step one time.
Yep.
And when you look at the game against Mizzou, I think they had 136, 135 yards rushing. So on the surface, that sounds great. I think 80 of it came on one play.
It did.
So you're talking the other 56 is on however many rushes. And I guarantee if you go back and look, there was somebody on that one play that didn't do their job, and it was out the gate. So that's kind of what they're looking for. They're looking for lulling you to sleep, 3 yards here, 2 yards there, 5 yards here, and then now all of a sudden you're out of place. And so it's not always just about defensive end containment. It's about being signed to sound.
Yeah. No, and those you're welcome, Freshwater Cajun. Great stuff, guys. And I watched that play. That was like an outside zone run or a stretch play. And those ends from Missouri, which are really good. Both those guys, got a chance to play in the league. One of them just got he got reached. They reached him. They got to his outside shoulder, and it was probably one of the only bad plays they had all game. And you're right, they popped it on him, and the safety was out of position, and they popped it on him.
Yep.
So that's what it takes. All right, let's. We got a couple more questions, but I want to thank our last sponsor before we move on and take a couple more questions. Let's thank our friends over at IP Vanish. We appreciate our friends over at IP Vanish for being a part of the On Texas football family and sponsoring our Thursday live stream. Nothing kills game day like a blackout or a block live stream. IP Vanish VPN keeps your connection private so you can bypass restrictions and watch securely, even on public Wi-Fi. And there's more. With IP Vanish Advanced, you also get a secure browser that blocks trackers, malware, and viruses, plus 1 terabyte of cloud storage to back up your files. That means your streaming stays private, your browsing is protected, and your files are always safe. Right now, On Texas football listeners, you can save 83%, just a little over $2 a month for all-in-one protection. That's a hell of a deal. Go to ipvanish.com/On Texas football. That's ipvanish.com/On Texas football. I'll follow the link in the description of this episode. Thank you very much to our friends at IP Vanish. All right, we got a couple of more questions here, I believe. How about what are your costumes for Halloween? Oh, that's good. I got a couple of options. And they're football related. Right? A couple of options that are football related. I have Texans related one and a Longhorn related one. Haven't figured out which, but I'm not gonna spoil it because I think I'm gonna wear it tomorrow. So we'll see. I think I might wear it to the co-op tomorrow.
I was about to ask, are you wearing it to the co-op?
It depends on really when I try it on and how it looks. Because the co-op, obviously, I'm gonna be out there in public. I'm not gonna be in my house.
Yeah.
Right? So I gotta. But it might be easy to transport and wear it there. But I got a Texans because I'm a Texans fan. All right, from H-Town, and a Longhorn related one. And I haven't figured out which one I'm gonna use. Whichever one looks better, pretty much.
Well, I know the guys all have them in the morning for coffee and football. They've been talking about it all week, so they're excited about.
Do they say what they are?
No. They
see?
I think most of them know. I think Jerry and Blake know what each other's wearing, but I think maybe Bobby is surprising them.
So
then the follow-up to this is I need to know if you and Bobby are going to wear them.
I'll text you tomorrow if I'm wearing it.
Because that means I got to come up with something like.
Yeah, I'll text you.
Oh, y'all like a bunch of girls. I can't let you do better than me.
No, like that.
We had a place.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going. Like I said, I don't know how it's going to look. Yeah, I'm really freestyling this thing.
That's
I can tell you,
it's not the idea.
Yeah, next time I have a show with you guys, I'll have had my 65th birthday. So you're 65, brother. You just hand out candy.
There you go.
Coach,
what day is your birthday, Coach?
Yeah, do what?
What day?
Saturday.
Oh, game day?
Oh,
we knock off a top 10.
Okay. We're winning. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I didn't know Shipley was for the B day on Saturday. We winning there. That's good. That's done deal. I'm gonna put some money on this game there, Coach. For real.
Birthday, national championship celebration. Like, come on.
Love it. Yeah, that's too much. That's too much good mojo. You're right about that. I got one more little nugget of good mojo after we answer this question. Okay, so Joshua, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. If Sark did leave, he won't. How would that affect the program? I don't think Sark is leaving until I think he's got more to accomplish here in Texas. I have said, though, I believe he has NFL aspirations. I've been saying that for 2 years, guys. That's not based on some report. I've been saying that for 2 years. Anybody you talk to that has talked to Sark, he talks about the NFL more than any college coach I've ever seen. He always talks about it. Damn near every other press conference, he's mentioning something about the NFL, or you know what? The NFL. They know how to do this really well. They do this, they do that. I like the way they do it in the league. Rod is going out as random.
That's a good one.
That is funny. That's Joe.
Joe.
Joe. Honestly, Joe,
I
should do it. I don't. It says Babers on the back, so I kind of feel there. But
tape over it like the Browns.
No,
like the Browns people do.
Get you some paper and tape it on there. Tape it over
That's what Browns do. They're always cycling through quarterbacks, so they just put the paper over it and write the new one on there.
I think honestly, that's better than the costume I was going to come up with, Coach. I think you just that's the costume. That's it. That's the costume. I got to find my old jersey, put some tape on the back of it, and put nib on there. Coach, you just hit it. That's it. That's what I'm doing. I think that Marcus, you want to know what I'm doing? That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing. I think that's what I'm gonna wear. All right, if I got to go find my jersey, I got one in there, but I got to see if I got the other one out there. But I don't think Sark is leaving until I think he wants to win a national title at Texas. Then I think y'all have to worry about him leaving. I don't think he's leaving and he ain't leaving for the Titans.
No.
But how would it affect the program? Texas is the most sought after job arguably in the country. They should be able to start at the top of the list and just work their way down. And you start with a Nick Saban, and then just have everybody tell you no. Nick Saban tells you no. Have Shanahan tell you no. Keep working your way down.
Hey, the problem is there's way more good jobs open right now than there are great coaches that are proven commodity. You got to take chance on guys, but it's going to be a really interesting hire. So, man, that would be horrible to me if Sark left. Yeah, there are some attractive guys maybe Texas could get that, some of these other ones can't. But, sometimes you don't know what you got till they're gone,
Sounds like a country song, Coach. Sounds like you're writing a country song. I like that.
So you put these rumors out there, right? Hey, I could go to the NFL. Y'all all, give me a hard time about my offense. I don't have to be here, I don't know. I don't know. That's just a theory out there.
Hey,
let's put it out there to quieten them down a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I don't disagree. Nobody. That's a conspiracy theory out there, and I've heard that one too. Someone said I heard Brian Kelly is available. Yeah, he's way down on the list. I wouldn't.
Hey, if you want to, I think the answer to that, what's the impact is it's based on the hire. You want it to go to in a handbasket quick, that hire Brian Kelly, and people would revolt. So,
yeah, kind of going full circle though. Scott Woodward, bad at making hires recently. I would give CDC some credit. He's done a really good job of hiring in Texas. And he's traditionally done a good job of hiring. You got to trust in your AD in that situation and trust the powers behind the scene. They're going to make the right choice. Sark was the right choice for Texas at the time. Well, no matter what happens here in the future, there's no doubt he was the right choice. They did a hell of a job, him. And that was kind of them taking a chance, Coach, to your point. All right, kind of rolling the dice. Sark had not accomplished, obviously, at that point. I don't think, obviously, what he has now, he has not accomplished at what he had up to this point. And they took a chance on an up-and-coming kind of, fast riser at the time, and it worked out really well. All right, let's get to one last nugget here, and we get out of here. All right. Okay, so I didn't know about this. I was doing research about the Texas Vanderbilt game and found this little nugget. I did not realize that Mack Brown played running back at Vanderbilt. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Well, and Florida State.
Yeah, no. In Florida State, I knew Florida State thing. I didn't know the Vanderbilt thing. Oh, I knew Florida State. Mack Brown talks about Florida State all the time. I didn't know the Vanderbilt thing.
Of course,
he started his college career as a running back at Vanderbilt, where he averaged.
He was out of.
He averaged 4.4 yards per carry. He had a 156-yard game against Tampa in 1969. And so he actually balled out a little bit there, but there you go. That's the Texas connection. Mack Brown played at Vanderbilt. I did not know that. Sorry, go ahead, Coach. What were you saying? Oh, Coach, I thought you had something to say about that.
Me?
Yeah.
No. It
You
would
said
have
you
been.
knew that already?
No, it would have been a smart aleck thing.
Oh. I thought you knew. Did you know that already, Coach?
No. Well, I think he's from Cookeville, Tennessee, somewhere just east of Nashville. So that would make sense. Where's Middle Tennessee?
That's a great question, Coach. I don't want to lie to you.
I think anyway, he's from just east of Nashville, so that would make sense. But hey, guy must have been able to run.
I'm just saying, I didn't know that about Coach. So, Coach Brown, he should be at the game considering he's, connected to both programs. All right. Thank you very much to all you guys out there for the super chats. Really appreciate it. If we missed any of your questions, we apologize about that. Please direct them to the gentleman at Coffee and Football bright and early tomorrow morning, Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton. Also, tomorrow we'll have our 3 p.m. live stream. That'll be live from the co-op. So if you're in town for the Texas Vanderbilt game, come on through. It'd be great to see you guys. Also, I might be dressed up as Ryan Niblett because Coach had a great idea for a costume. So thank you to Marcus. Thanks. We appreciate all your expertise, brother Coach. Appreciate all the wisdom and the knowledge. Thanks to Bobby Burton behind the scenes because Bobby's actually producing the show tonight. So give it up for Bobby Burton behind the scenes, doing a great job for Coach and for Marcus and for Bobby. I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babies. Until next time, hook 'em horns.